the agriculture sector of Indian economy in 1950 to 1990, and we learn the 5 years plan. What are the objectives of the 5 years plan? What are the objectives of 5-year plan? You already know these are. Main objectives of 5-year plan was modernization, equity, self-reliant, okay, and also full employment, and also another is the most important is the growth. Okay, and already we discussed the features of the agriculture during 1950 to 1990. So when we discuss about the features of the agriculture sector during 1950 to 1990, these are also, we can say, the problems which are associated with our economics or Indian economy in agriculture. Okay, so first we know the low level of productivity depending on rainfall. Yes, in that time there was no the people, they don't know the uses of the modern technology, that's why the productivity was very low. And also there was no irrigation system, they depend on the nature, they depend on the rainfall, that's why also we give the low productivity. Okay student, and also that time there was in agriculture field there was disguised unemployment, subsistence farming, and conflict between the owner of the soil and the tiller of the soil, and fragmented of land holdings. So these are the problems. Okay, today I discuss about the some problems which left that day. Okay, so you know the lack of the irrigation facilities. Okay, and that they discuss fragmented land holdings or the small or scattered land holdings. Next one, we start from number 4 because some are we discuss which are the low productivity, disguised unemployment. Sorry, not 4, this one is 6. And the subsistence farming, conflict between the owners of the land, tillers of the land. And today I discuss the small and scattered holdings. Okay, so that time the farmers, they have the maximum of the farmers, they have the small amount of the land or the scattered land, okay, which are very small, and that much of land there is not possible to run the tractor. Okay, so that's why they did not properly cultivate their own lands. Okay, so these are the one problem of the small and scattered holdings. Next, the deficit of institutional finance. Okay, so that time they did not know about any information about the institutional finance. They depend on the credit or depend for credit on the moneylenders and traders, okay, who took the very high interest rate per month. Okay, and which are not possible to repay by the farmers, and they fall in the debt trap. Okay, so there was the deficit of the institutional finance, and or they did not know about any information about the institutional finance. That's why they not got the credit from any institutional finance, and they took the loan from the money lenders. Okay students, so these are the deficit of the institutional finance, which is the another problem in the agriculture sector. Next, the conventional outlook. Okay, that means what conventional outlook means. That time the farmers they have no money, so that's why they have no capital, and that's why they did not know the uses of the modern technology. So obviously they depend upon the conventional way of the cultivation, or the traditional way of the cultivation. Okay, so this one is the another backwards of the agriculture. Now the next one is the lack of organized market system. Okay, that's why this is one reason. That time there was no any proper or organized market where they can sell the their products. Okay, and before that time, or before the independence, they obviously they depend on the their cultivation, or they cultivated their food crops for their self consumption. They and they not produce the product for their for the market. Okay, and after when during the British rule, Britishers create the pressure to the farmers that they cultivate the cash crops. Okay, and which they sell in the market. So after the British rule, so there was the lack of organized market system. There was no proper market where the farmers can sell, because there was some intermediaries or some traders who can bought the crops from the farmers at very cheaper rate, and these crops they can again they can sold in the market at the high prices. So that's why lack of organized market system. So this is the one another problems. Okay, now to solve these problems, okay, the government take from in that time in 1950 to 1990, that time, or in the 5-year plans, government took some decisions to, or took some measures to improve the agriculture sector. So what is these are? what are these measures? So this means the land reforms involves the changing of laws, regulations or customs regarding land ownerships. Okay students, so land reforms involves the changing of law, regulation or custom regarding land ownerships. So after independence, there was the equal distribution of land among the people, because who are the rich people or large farmers or rich farmers or zamindars, they have the maximum amount of the land, or who are the small farmers, they have the less amount of land or the very small and scattered land. Okay, so after that, government in the 5 years, third five years plan, government took some decisions take some decision about the land reforms, which defines the equal land distribution to all people. So land reforms involves the changing the laws, regulations, custom regarding land ownerships, and that India, majority of the population, they depend on the agriculture. Okay, so in agriculture sector there was the great need for the land reforms. So first one and the first step which was taken by the government was the abolition of intermediaries. Okay student, so before independence, the British government, they established the zamindari system or land tenure system. What there was? This was the triangular relationship among the British government, zamindar and the farmers or tenants. Okay, and by this system, zamindar zamindars have to pay the fixed amount of the money to the British government, and this sum or this money they zamindars collected from the farmers by any condition or by hook or crook. Okay, so they not saying what was the condition of the farmer, he was able or not. Okay, the zamindar create pressure to the farmers by taking the rent of the land. Okay students, so in the 5-year plan, government took the decisions that they need to the abolitions of the intermediaries, because the zamindar, they are exploit the farmers. Okay, and which was the very one is the very important reason for the backwardness of the agriculture sector. That's why to lead the increase in output and growth in agriculture, government have decided that the distribution of land among farmers must be equal. Okay, and government they remove the intermediaries to protect the poorest agricultural laborers in India. Okay, but by these land reforms only few places are benefited by the land reforms. Okay, not the all places in India. Now come to the next point, regulation of land. Okay, so condition of farmer was very poor or very bad due to excessive and illegal extortion from them in form of rent. So that's why by the government they have fixed one amount which was the 1/3 of the value of their crop. Okay, and which was not exceed the 1/3 of the value of the crop. Okay, and this amount only taken by the they give to the zamindars or the governments. Okay, so they by the government they fixed one amount. Okay, now we come to the land ceiling. This one is one important terms. Okay, land ceiling. So this land ceiling means the equal distribution of land among the farmers. This term is referred to the fixing the limit of the land that anyone can own. Okay, and beyond this specific limit, all lands belong to a particular person would be taken by government and allotted the same to landless farmers. So there by the government they fix the amount of the land. Who have the maximum amount of the land, government fix one limit, that much amount of the land anyone can own. Exceed of that amount, the no farmer or the no anyone person he can't own that amount of the loan. Okay, student. So, and who are the small farmer, who are the landless or who are the tillers of the soil, from the government they also distributed the equal amount of the land among them. So this is the land ceiling. Land ceiling means the fixing the limit of the land that one or anyone can own. This is about the land ceiling. And what is the main of this land ceiling? The main of the land ceiling is to promote the equity so that every farmers can improve and contribution to land also increased. Okay, so when every farmers have the same amount of the land, so they and there is no intermediaries, so obviously they easily can cultivate their land and also the output will be increased in the future. Okay, now the next one is the consolidation of holdings. Consolidation means what? Consolidation means the togetherness. Okay, because that time in the previous time the many farmers they have the small and scattered amount of the land. So in this consolidation of holdings, the people have land but in they have their scattered place, but government tries to consolidation of the holdings and provide them land in one place. Okay, students. Now next one is the cooperative farming. this one, another thing, cooperative farming means the farmers, they can sell their product individually, or they can buy the capitals or the raw materials, seeds for their cultivation individually. So the price of this raw materials was high. But when government see that when the one large amount of the farmers, they can buy their raw materials for their cultivation by one large group, then the price of these seeds will automatically goes down. Okay, so that's why government thought in agriculture there need the cooperative farming. So cooperative farming is encourage the further of consolidation, the gain of consolidation of holding, and this would help the small holders of the lands. Okay student, this is about the cooperative farming. So land reforms were successful only in Kerala and West Bengal, and because they are committed with the governments for these land reforms, and other states they are not benefited by these land reforms because they are not successfully committed with this policy by the government. So these are the all about the land reforms. So what is the land reforms? Land reforms means the equal land distribution among the farmers. Now we come to the technical reforms. The next, government take another initiative, which was technical reforms, which also known as Green Revolution. So during British rule, the Indians, they don't know about the what was the uses of the new technology or modern technology in agriculture sector, because that time there was no industry in India. So that's why they did not know the uses of the modern technology. But after 1950, terms of the year 1960, the India, they adopted the new strategy in agriculture, or they introduced with some new technology in agriculture. Okay, which obviously expenses or increase their productivity of the Indian agriculture sector. Now, because that time the Indian farmers, they familiar with the traditional farming method, but after 1960s, the government, in the 5-year plan, the government took the decision about the some technical reforms, which is known as the Green Revolution. And this Green Revolution, the first is they knew the uses of the high yielding variety of seeds. So first, in technical reforms, uses of XIV seeds, high yielding variety of seeds. So this means, because in the previous time the farmers, they use the conventional way of the farming, they use the natural seeds. Okay, and but in the time of the Green Revolution, or in the when the government introduced the technical reforms, XIV seeds have replaced the conventional seeds. Due to XIV seeds relating to wheat, bajra, rice, jowar, maize and cotton, so productivity obviously rise after using the seeds, XIV seeds, and which lead the condition increase in the better condition of the agriculture. So uses of HIV seeds which lead the increasing of the production or productivity. Now use of the next feature is use of chemical fertilizers. Okay students, so before the green revolution they used the natural fertilizers like cow dung, manure, but after green revolution they uses the some chemical fertilizers which also leads to the increase in the production. So next one is the use of insecticides and pesticides. These uses of insecticides and pesticides which also protect the crops against the various diseases and insects, and which also leads the high productivity. Okay student, and next one is scientific farm management practices. Okay, so in or after technical reforms, the Indian agriculture they introduced with some new technology. Okay, so before technical reforms they uses some traditional way like plowing, but after green revolution or in time of green revolution they uses the tractor, harvester, this type of the machines in the agriculture, which also leads to the increase in the productivity. Okay students, and also use some scientific methods in the production. So these are the all about thing about the or some features in the technical reforms. And now we talk about some general reforms. So first one is under general reform. So first one is expansion of irrigation facility. Okay, so from the government they give the irrigation facility to develop the production from the agriculture sector. Okay, and according to in 1951 there was 70% of the land was under the permanent means of irrigation. Okay, so in 1951 17% of land under permanent means of irrigation, where according to 2010 it is 35%. And these land they are easily irrigated, and by which they increase the production. Okay students, now the next one is the institutional credit. So this institutional credit, and which is also set up NABARD in 1982. Okay, what is this NABARD? NABARD is National National Bank of Agriculture, National Bank of Agriculture in Rural Development. Okay students, so before the independence, the farmer they were depend on the for the credit on the money lenders, and they don't know the uses of the any information from the institutional credit. But this NABARD, which also one of the that time apex body of the agricultural bank. So this bank they provided the credit to the farmers at the very cheap interest rate, and by using this capital, farmers they develop in their agricultural production or production process. So these are the one main thing, the institutional credit. Okay student, now regulated market and cooperative farming society. So this regulated market means this is the market where the demand and supply which are operated by the government. Okay, so how much amount of the crops are supplied in the market, they also decided by the government, and how much demand from the farmers or from the any other person, these are also decided by the government. So the demand, supply, demand which are regulated by the, or which are the decisions taken by the government. So regulated market means the demand and supply which are operated by government. This one important thing. And cooperative farmings, which where the farmers get easily the seeds or the another fertilizers at a cheaper rate, which also, and also there in the farmers they have the bargaining power, so they can easily buy the seeds and fertilizers. Okay, and from the government also there was another important thing. Minimum support price. What is this minimum support price? This minimum support price is one price of the crop which are fixed by the government. That means the farmer they also can sell their product or their crops to the government at the fixed price. Or otherwise, if in the market he also if he can get the maximum prices which are more than of the fixed prices by the government, then he can sell in the market. Otherwise, farmers, they can sell their crops to the government at the fixed prices, which is called the minimum support price. Okay student, so this term is very important, minimum support price. Next, created buffer stock. Okay student, this one, another buffer stock means the stock of the food grains, okay, by the governments, or this green revolution enables the government to procure the sufficient amount of food grains, builds the stock. Okay, so by the government, they build one stock of the food grains of the which is known as the buffer stock, and this stock which is uses in times of where there is in the society or in country there was the shortage of the foods, then government can use this buffer stock. So what is the buffer stock? Buffer stock means the one stock where the government can store the food grains, okay, and these food grains are uses when the shortage of the food in our country. Okay, so this is all about the buffer stock. So student, these are the general reforms of the agriculture sector, which is the taken in the this decision taken in the five-year plans. Okay students, so these are the important effects, or also important effects of the green revolution. Okay, so these are about the agriculture sector in during the 1950 to 1990. Then we discuss about the industrial sector, and in industrial sector how by the government take some decision to develop our industrial sector, and what was the role of the public sector in industrial development, and also we learned the industrial policy resolution or IPR 1956 which are developed to our industrial sector. So these are we learn in our further class and or the next class. Okay student, so obviously you note down all these points and go through your books. Okay, if you can't understood any points or anything else, then contact with me, and also you can put your question on our e-portal, BMS e-portal, and obviously I will give you all the answer. Okay, so for today that's it. The next day we continue this class. So student, for today, thank you.